Hi everyone. You will learn about the basics of differential amplifiers in this session. Amplifier circuits are widely used in almost all modern communication, instrumentation, and computation systems. The output of an amplifier is gain times input signal. So the main shortcomings of such amplifier circuits is that they also amplify environmental noise or any other noise signal present at the input. In addition to this, amplifier circuits have moderate gain and limited bandwidth. If you recall the frequency response of common emitter, common collector, and common source amplifiers, the gain is low at lower and higher frequencies due to capacitor effects. These limitations are overcome by the differential pair. Due to these reasons, differential amplifier configuration is the most widely used building block in analog integrated circuit design. Before looking into the basics of differential amplifier, let us first see the advantages of going differential. Why differential and what is differential? For that, first let us start with single-ended signal. So what is single-ended signaling and differential signaling? Single-ended signal is measured from one node to ground or from any node always with reference to a ground. Consider the circuit shown here. The voltage is measured between terminal 1 and 0. So because it's ground, I'm taking it as terminal 0. Now if you measure a signal between these two terminals, you'll get an output voltage, an AC signal. Okay. Now if V0 is the peak value of the output signal, then the peak to peak value of the signal is given by 2 into V0. Next, what is differential signal? Differential signal is measured across two ends or two nodes. The voltage is measured between the two terminals. So there is no reference ground here. Consider this circuit. So the output is measured between the two terminals of the resistors here. So this is terminal 1 and let this be terminal 2. So it is always measured between these two terminals. So there is no reference ground here. So now what is V out? V out equal to V1 minus V2. If suppose the polarity is the reverse, this is minus and this is plus, then we can say it as V2 minus V1. Okay. In this case, we already know that if we measure the voltage at this point, the peak to peak signal is 2 V0. We have considered V0 to be the peak value of the signal. If that is the case, then the peak to peak value of this differential measurement will be equal to 2 V0 minus of minus 2 V0 because the polarity here is negative. So the peak to peak swing will be equal to 4 V0 here. The advantages of differential signaling is that it increases the maximum voltage swings. That is what we have seen in the previous slide. And it is higher immunity towards noise signals. How differential circuits are immune towards noise signals? Yes, let us see that now. Consider the same circuit. Now to this circuit, to the input V in 1 and V in 2, a noise signal is being added here. So now the input voltage on one side is V in 1 plus V noise, and on the other side it is V in 2 plus V noise. So this is V1 and V2. Now what is our output voltage? Output V out equal to V1 minus V2. On substituting the values, we'll get this expression. So on cancelling V noise, we end up with V out equal to V in 1 minus V in 2. This is exactly similar to the previous case if the noise was not been added. So there is no effect of adding a noise to the circuit. So the output voltage remains the same to be V in 1 minus V in 2. So this is how the differential signaling has got higher immunity towards noise signals. Basically, there are two reasons for using differential in preference to single-ended amplifiers. So first, they are less sensitive to noise and interference, as we have seen that now. And the second reason is that no bypass and coupling capacitors are needed to couple the amplifier stages. Okay, next let us see how to construct a differential pair, a MOS differential pair especially. Okay, Recall the common source amplifier circuit. I can call this common source amplifier circuit as a single-ended amplifier circuit because the output is taken between the drain terminal and with respect to the ground. So the gain AV equal to minus GM into RD, and the output voltage is given by the voltage at drain terminal. This point is given by VDD minus ID into RD. Okay. Now this is single-ended. Now how to construct a differential pair? Differential pair needs two nodes. So differential amplifier is implemented using two identical common source amplifiers like this. So in each stage has same DC biasing, then the current at both the stages are also equal. Now the differential output voltage is the voltage difference across both the output terminals. If we consider this to be equal to V01, and if this is taken as V02, then the output voltage is V01 minus V02, or it can be the other way also. It is V02 minus V01. Okay. Now we are talking about an amplifier. The requirement for an amplifier is that both the transistor should be in saturation, or it should be conducting all the times, because you now remember the characteristic curve and the Q point of an amplifier always being at the center of the load line and such stuff. So we need to provide a proper biasing to this circuit so that both the MOSFETs are always in saturation and conducting all the times. So what is the best way of biasing a MOSFET? It is by providing a constant current source biasing. So now this circuit will be turned into this one with a constant current source biasing of I. Now, if each stage has same DC biasing, then the current at both stages are exactly equal. So we consider two MOSFETs, Q1 and Q2, to be exactly matched. The matched transistors refers to their parameters are exactly matched to each other. So the sources are joined together and biased by a constant current source. This takes the exact symmetrical circuit, and it is much similar to common source amplifier. Now the current source provided here is I. So if this is I, we know that the DC current is exactly divided between these two transistors. So in that case, ID1 should be equal to ID2. So we can say that I is equal to ID1 plus ID2, or ID1 plus ID2 is equal to I. So in that case, the current will be exactly divided into half, as I by 2 on one transistor and I by 2 as I by 2 on the other transistor. So the total current in the circuit will be equal to the constant current source provided here, that is I. There are two different modes of operation of MOS differential pairs are possible. One is common mode input voltage operation. The other one is differential input voltage operation. So we'll discuss about those two modes of operations in the next session. Thank you. You will learn about common mode operation of differential amplifier in this session. A MOS differential pair consists of two matched transistors, Q1 and Q2, whose sources are joined together and biased by a constant current source I. The transistors are said to be matched if their parameters are exactly the same. So current source is ideal and it has infinite resistance. The drain is connected to a positive supply VDD through a resistor RD. So the load, the resistor RD acts as a load for the amplifier. The circuit has two inputs, one is VG1 and the other one is VG2 at both the gates of the MOSFETs, and two outputs, one is VD1 and the output at the second MOSFET is VD2. Now let us discuss about the common mode operation of the MOSFET. Consider the two gate terminals are joined together and connected to a voltage VCM, that is called common mode voltage. So both the gates are connected together to a voltage called as common mode voltage VCM. So VG1 is equal to VG2, that is equal to VCM. It's a common mode voltage. Since Q1 and Q2 are matched, it follows exact symmetry. So we know that the drain current is I by 2 and here it is I by 2. So the total current in the circuit is I. Now the voltage at the source, how to find the voltage at the source? So if we apply KVL here, we can write it as VCM, the applied common mode voltage VCM is equal to VGS plus the potential at this point. The potential at this point is the source voltage because the sources are coupled together. So the potential at this point will be the source voltage. So from this, we can find what is Vs, the potential at source. The potential at the source will be equal to VCM minus VGS. We know that both the transistors Q1 and Q2 are going to operate in saturation mode and conducting all the times. So the drain current will be equal to I by 2, that is equal to half Kn dash W over L into VGS minus VT square. This is an expression for drain current in saturation mode. So this is equal to the drain current of each MOSFET. So that is equal to I divided by 2. So from this, we know that VGS minus VT is V overdrive voltage. So this is equal to half Kn dash into V over L, W over L into V overdrive square. Now, okay, we have determined the drain current and the source voltage. Now, what is the voltage at the drain? So, the drain voltage is equal to VDD minus ID into RD. So, we know that ID is equal to I by 2. So, that is equal to VDD minus I by 2 into RD. Now, the voltage at the other drain, the second drain of the MOSFET is also the same. So VD1 is equal to VD2. Both the voltages are same because the circuit follows exact symmetry and both the drain currents are same. So the drop across the the drop at the drain terminal is also the same. So VD1 equal to VD2, that is equal to VDD minus I by 2 into RT. So from this expression, if both the drain voltages VD1 and VD2 are equal, if we measure differentially, what will be the output voltage? So in common mode input operation, the difference in voltage between the two drains will be 0. Now, let us try to vary the common mode voltage. So VCM is slightly varied. If VCM is varied, as long as the Q1 and Q2 is still remaining in saturation, the current will divide equally between the two MOSFETs. So the drain current is going to be I divided by 2 on MOSFET 1 and drain current is going to be I by 2 at MOSFET 2 also, because the current source provides a constant current of I. So even though you vary your VCM voltage, the current is going to be the same. So ID1 equal to ID2, that is equal to I by 2. So the voltage at drain, if the current is going to be same, then the voltage at drain also will not change. So the differential pair does not respond to common mode input signals, or in other words, we can say it rejects common mode signals. This is a feature which helps the differential amplifier in rejecting the noise signals. Now, from this, we can find the overdrive voltage of a differential pair. So we know that the drain current expression is given by I by 2 equal to 1 by 2 into Kn dash into W over L into V overdrive square. So from this, V overdrive will be equal to root of I divided by Kn dash into W over L. Yes. Now, an important specification of differential amplifier, especially in common mode operation, is you should know the input common mode range for which the differential pair operates properly. Now, how to find the range over which the differential pair operates properly? So we know that the transistor Q1 and Q2 should remain in saturation. So the highest value of the common mode range can be obtained uh, by making the the transistors Q1 and Q2 in saturation. So we know that the condition for saturation is VDS is should be greater than VGS minus VT, or it should be greater than or equal to. So let us take this expression, VDS is equal to VGS minus VT. Now this expression VDS can be written as VD minus VS is equal to VGS minus VT. We already know that the source voltage Vs is equal to VCM minus VGS. So from this expression, what is VGS? VGS is equal to VCM minus Vs. So if we replace VGS in this expression by this expression, then we'll end up with VD minus Vs is equal to VCM minus Vs minus VT. So we can cancel Vs and Vs over here. Then the remaining expression will be VCM is equal to VT plus VD. So this is the maximum value of common mode voltage that can be applied to the differential amplifier for its normal operation. So we know that the drain voltage VD is equal to VDD minus I by 2 into RD. So if we replace it, so we get the VCM max is equal to VT plus VDD minus I by 2 into RT. Now, what is the lowest value of the common mode input range? In order to find the lowest range, we need to allow sufficient voltage across the current source I. So what is the voltage drop across the current source I? We know that current source offers infinite resistance. So let us assume that the drop across the current source, let us take it to be VCS. So VCS is the current source voltage. Now, in order to find the lowest value, apply KVL to the input, that is to the gate and source terminals. So if you apply KVL to the gate and source terminals, we get VCM is equal to VGS plus VCS minus VSS. So from this, we know that VGS from the overdrive voltage, if we replace VGS by overdrive voltage plus VT, then we obtain an expression for the lowest value of common mode voltage, that is equal to V overdrive plus VT plus VCS, that is the drop across the current source, minus the power supply value, that is VSS. So this is the lowest and highest value of common mode voltages that should be allowed in order for the differential pair to operate properly. So next session, let us discuss about the differential mode of operation of an amplifier. And before that, a homework on common mode input signal is being given to you. So please do solve the homework problem and then continue with the next session on differential mode of operation. Thank you. In this session, you will learn about differential mode input voltage operation of a differential amplifier. Apply a difference or differential input voltage to the amplifier. Consider the circuit shown here. You can observe that the gate of the transistor Q2 is grounded here. So VG2 is equal to the input VG2 is equal to 0. Now apply a signal VID to the gate of the transistor Q1. VID indicates the differential input voltage. On applying a differential input voltage to the transistor of Q1, there will be a drop across the transistor Q1 and the transistor Q2 due to this the applied differential voltage. Now let us assume that the drop across the transistor Q1 be VGS1 and let the drop across transistor Q2 be VGS2. So the applied differential input voltage VID is equal to VGS1 minus VGS2. For better understanding the circuit in differential mode operation, let us consider two cases. First case, let VID be positive, and second case, let VID be negative. What if VID is positive? VID should be positive, then VGS1 should be greater than VGS2. Only in that case, VAD will be positive. Or if VGS2 is greater than VGS1, then VAD will be negative from this expression. Okay, now let us see in detail about the two cases. First case, VAD is positive. So VGS1 will be greater than VGS2. Hence, if VGS1 is greater than VGS2, then the drain current flowing through the transistor Q1 will be more when compared to the drain current flowing through the transistor Q2. We know that the voltage at the drain terminal is equal to VDD minus ID into RD. In that case, if Q1 has got more drain current, then the drop at this point will be less. So that is VD1 will be less when compared to VD2. Okay. So if VD1 is less when compared to VD2, then the differential output voltage Vout will be positive because VD1 is less when compared to VD2. I hope you would have understood this. Yes. Now, on the other hand, if VAD is negative, that is VGS2 is more than VGS1. So in that case, the drain current flowing through the transistor Q2 will be more when compared to the drain current flowing through the transistor Q1. So in that case, ID1 will be less than ID2. So if ID1 is less, the drop across the resistor RD will be less. So the drain terminal voltage VD1 will be more. If VD1 is more, then the differential output voltage will be negative. Now these two cases shows that the circuit responds to a difference mode signal as it provides differential output signals between the two drains. Because in earlier case, in common mode operation, we found that both VD1 and VD2 are exactly the same. But that is not the case here. VD1 and VD2 are different in both the cases here in differential mode of operation. So this says that the circuit responds to different mode signals. Okay. Now, what is the value of this differential input voltage that is applied to the circuit so that the maximum current will flow in one of the transistor and it will make the output as a differential output. Okay. So for the purpose of finding the differential input that allows maximum current to flow in Q1, let us first assume that the entire current that is applied here, that is through the current source, will flow through the transistor Q1. So ID1 is assumed to be I. And in that case, VGS2 will take a value equal to VT. So VGS2 is equal to VT. Okay. The value of VGS2 will take a value VT. Okay, so no current will flow through transistor Q2. The entire current I will flow only through the transistor Q1. Now, what is the value of VGS1 that makes the entire current to flow in the first transistor? That value will take it from the drain current expression. We know that the drain current expression I is equal to 1/2 into Kn dash W by L into VGS1 minus VT the whole square. From this expression, we can take VGS1 is equal to VT plus root of 2 into I divided by Kn dash into W by L. We have already derived a term for this root of I divided by Kn dash into W by L. This is equal to the overdrive voltage corresponding to the drain current of I/2. So if we replace this, we get VGS1 is equal to VT plus root 2 into V overdrive. So the VGS1 value is equal to VT plus root 2 into V overdrive. That will make the entire current to flow through the transistor Q1, and the value of VGS2 is equal to VT, so that no current will flow through the transistor Q2. Okay. Now, what is the value of the differential input voltage that is required? So we know that differential input voltage is equal to VGS1 minus VGS2. So on substituting these two values, we end up with this expression. So on cancelling the threshold voltage, we get the VID value, the maximum value of VID should be equal to root 2 V overdrive, so that the maximum current will flow through the transistor Q1 and no current will flow through transistor Q2. Okay. Now, if we consider the other case, the negative direction, if VID is equal to minus root 2 into V overdrive, then Q1, no current will flow through Q1 and the maximum current, that is I, will flow through the transistor Q2. Okay, so if we take both these values and if we try to find the range of differential mode operation that is given by VID should be between minus root 2 V overdrive and plus root 2 V overdrive. This is a maximum value. This is a maximum value which makes the maximum current to flow through the transistor. So if we apply a voltage, differential input voltage between these two ranges, then we can ensure that both the transistors Q1 and Q2 will remain in saturation even when one of them is conducting the entire current I. Okay, so this is the operation of a differential mode of mode input in a differential amplifier. So this is how the circuit responds to a differential input. Thank you.